Hello. In this problem, I'm going to find the length of time in hours. The IV should be administered, assuming that you have a drop factor of 10 drops per ml. It says enter your answer in fraction form. So you've got 800 ml at a rate of 40 drops per minute. Now let's begin. Now, in the other video, I showed you that anytime you're dealing with a drop factor in drops per minute, you could use a formula to do that. So from that formula, we know that the flow rate equals volume and volume in ml over time in minutes times the drop factor. Now in this problem, I've got the flow rate. The flow rate is in drops per minute right here. I've got the drop factor, which is 10 drops per ml. I've got the volume, which is 800. I've got to find the time. But remember, the time is in minutes. So when you find the time in minutes, you've got to change to hours. So flow rate is 40 drops per minute equals volume is in ml, it's 800 divided by the time, that's what I'm trying to find, times a drop factor of 10 or 10 over 1. So to solve this, I've got 40 equals 800 times 10 is 8,000 divided by t. So I would do t over 1 and then cross multiply. So if I cross multiply, I've got 40t equals 1 times 8,000 is 8,000. And then I divide both sides by 40. 8,000 divided by 40 is 200. And this 200, remember, is in minutes. This 200 is in minutes. So t becomes 200 minutes. I have to change this to 200 minutes. I've got to change this to hours. To change minutes to hours, you have to divide by 60 because 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 hour is 60 minutes. If you don't know whether to divide or multiply, just set it up as a proportional equation. So x hours, hours on top, minutes at the bottom, 200 minutes. You cross multiply, you've got 60 times x, which is 60x times 200. And then you divide by 60, you divide by 60. So 200 divided by 60. Remember, it says enter your answer in fraction form. So 200 divided by 60. I'll cancel the zero, so I've got 20 over 6. Canceling the zeros means I'm dividing by 10, right? Because I canceled 1 0. So divide the top by 10. 200 by 10 is 20. 60 by 10 is 6. And then now I could use a 2 here and then use a 2 there. So I've got 10 over 3. So my time in hours is going to be in fraction is 10 over 3 hours. 10 over 3 hours. So time in hours is 10 over 3. And that's it. You've got your answer. So you could always apply the formula, and it's always going to give you the right answer when dealing with flow rates. Now, let's say that another way to do this is that let's say that you didn't know about the formula. You didn't know about the formula. If you didn't know about the formula, that is fine, but you would have to break the problem down for it to make sense. So let's try that. So let's try it out. I've got 800 ml. And this 800 ml is at a rate of 40 drops per minute. But if you look at the drop factor here, you've got 10 drops per ml, which means for every ml, you've got 10 drops from it. 10 drops. So if you want to know the number of drops you're going to get from 800 ml, remember 1 ml gives you 10 drops, which means 2 ml will give you 2 times 10 drops, which is 20, right? So 2 is going to give you 20 drops, which means that if you have 800 ml, you are multiplying 800 by the number of drops, which is 10 drops, which gives you 8,000 drops. So you've got 8,000 drops. Now, when you get the 8,000 drops, we're going to write that down and then look at this. So we've got 8,000 drops from 800, 8,000 drops from 800 mLs. Now, it tells us here that the flow rate is that you're getting 40 drops for every minute. 40 drops for every minute. So, since I've got 8,000 drops, I know that for every minute I'm doing 40 drops. But the total drops is for 8,000. So, if you decide to divide 8,000 by 40, 8,000 by 40 drops is going to give you the number of minutes you need. Or in other words, if you decide to do dimensional analysis, you've got drops, you've got minutes, and then you've got drops at the bottom. So I put drops here so that drops will cancel drops, and then I've got minutes. And this is 1 minute, it's 40 drops per 1 minute. So that's it. So this is going to give you 8,000 times 1 is 8,000. And then 1 times 40 is 40. So this gives you 200 minutes. Wow, 200 minutes. So that is the time. And then you change that to hours. Change that to hours by dividing by 60. If you do not want to use dimensional analysis, that's fine. You could set this up as a ratio and proportion problem. Ratio and proportion problem. Because you've got 40 drops over 1 minute. And you're trying to find the minutes. You've got 8,000 drops over X minutes. Cross multiply. Same thing. So I'm giving you all the options so that you choose which one you prefer. So that you don't force yourself on a method that you don't really like or you don't prefer. So if you do that, you get a 200 minutes, and then you change 200 minutes to hours. 1 hour is 60 minutes. You divide by 60 or set it up again as a dimensional analysis or ratio and proportion problem to get 200 divided by 60 minutes. So I hope this helps. Send me your questions in the comments or send me an email. Thank you. Bye.